Welcome to r/AmITheJerk, where this woman wonders if she's in the right or the wrong for letting her daughter drink wine underage. Am I the jerk for letting my 16-year-old daughter drink a glass of wine? Last night, I, a 46-year-old woman, had a glass of wine while watching a movie with my daughter, who is 16. And she asked me if she could try some. Normally, I'm strict with my children when it comes to alcoholic beverages, but I didn't think a little wine would hurt, so I poured her a glass. I told her that this would be a once-in-a-blue-moon exception. My husband, on the other hand, was not okay with this. When he came into the living room and saw her with the wine in her hand, he lost his mind. He started shouting at me, asking why the heck I let her drink alcohol underage, and said she could easily become addicted to it. I immediately felt bad and apologized, but my husband is still fuming with me over this. I don't think he trusts me anymore. So, am I the jerk? Okay, well, the first thing that I have to ask here, and I don't know where this takes place or what the laws are, but I know that in my country, in the UK, you're allowed to drink at home with your family. I think you have to be 14 perhaps in order to do that. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I know that you are allowed to drink under the legal age of 18 in England at home with your parents. It's a different law. Now, I presume this is in America, so I don't know if that's legit or not. Guys, comment down below what the rules are in America. But what I will say is that I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think perhaps you could have had a conversation with your husband about it before, but I mean, maybe you could have had a conversation with your husband before if you suspect he might have this strong a reaction. But I mean, come on, otherwise you're just going to ask your husband about everything before you do it, so I probably wouldn't have done that myself. But yeah, this seems like a pretty healthy way to introduce your daughter to alcohol. She's going to be drinking it pretty soon anyway, let's be completely honest. I mean, I don't know again what country this takes place in, but I doubt she's going to be waiting until she's 21. Let's be completely real with each other. And yeah, this is a nice way to understand it, maybe get a little bit of a buzz, understand or experience the effects in a healthy way with your parents. I think it's all good. Am I the jerk for nuking my niece's social media accounts? So a couple of weeks ago, I, a 35-year-old man, had my sister, who is 39, and her family, including her 11-year-old daughter, my niece, over for a barbecue. We had a pretty good time, with the exception of my niece, who was pretty much constantly on her phone recording TikToks. Slightly annoying, but ultimately not my kid, not my problem. I've talked to my sister a while ago about being careful about what my niece is putting online, protecting her identity, etc. My sister brushed it off, saying that my niece was sensible enough not to do anything stupid. I figure I'd try and bridge the gap, so I asked my niece what she's recording. It's a TikTok. You're old. You wouldn't get it. I work in tech, so it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I decided to let it slide and do some digging later. Well, it turns out that my niece has used her full government name to register for TikTok with links to her public Instagram with the same name. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I reported everything for being under 13. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everything I could find. With the nature of TikTok trends, some of the stuff on there was stuff that 11-year-olds probably shouldn't be doing and definitely shouldn't be recording. Fast forward to today, my sister calls me and asks me if I can have a look at my niece's iPad. Apparently, she can't log into any of her accounts and she's having a meltdown about it. I talk her through it and it quickly becomes apparent that the accounts are blocked and they're asking for ID. I'm in two minds whether to tell her it was me that reported the accounts or just tell her to submit the ID, knowing it will get my niece permabanned. So, am I the jerk for nuking my niece's social media? Here we go. One of the main issues with social media and young people right here. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, maybe you went a little bit too far here. You didn't have to nuke everything. You could have had a conversation with the 11-year-old and your sister before you did this. I don't know, man. I think like just for her own safety, we know the sort of thing that goes on online. We know what sort of people are out there looking for this sort of stuff on TikTok. And as you said, the trends that occur on TikTok, you know, the dancing stuff and a lot worse than that, let's be honest, an 11-year-old should not be doing. I mean, yes, you're right. Ever, let alone posting that online. Who knows who could be watching that? Again, having everything public like that is just crazy. One of my good friends has a younger sister who I think is about 14 or whatever, and I remember having a conversation with her and she was making a TikTok, and then I asked her actually, do you have like a public account? Is it public? And she said, no, my mum doesn't let me make these public. It's just my own private enjoyment. And I said, that is very clever. Good parenting. I would do the same. So I feel like having an account and having fun with it is all good. But make sure it's private because, again, you do not know who is out there. And ultimately, it is against the law as well. She is under the age of 13. The laws exist for a reason. Am I the jerk for excluding my adopted sister from family photos? I am a 26-year-old woman, and my adopted sister, Ali, is 14. The way we're related is that my younger brother, Michael, who is 24, has been with his wife, Maya, since their freshman year of high school. Maya and Ali had a really bad home life, and my mum is very much a my home is open to everyone type of person. So, over that year, Maya began spending more and more time at our house, eventually bringing Ali over as well, since she was always babysitting. Okay, so I presume that Ali and Maya are related. By the time Michael and Maya were 16 years old, Maya basically lived in the guest room, and Ali spent after school, most weekends, holidays, and summer vacation at our house. My mum and dad say that they love both Maya and Ali like their own children. My other siblings, who are 18 and 16, also treat her like she's a part of the family. Even after Maya and Michael moved out, Ali is still at their house the same amount, if not more than she was before. Now, to preface, I have nothing against Ali. She's a good kid, and I make an effort to be nice to her. However, I've never really liked how she was foisted into our lives. She's not actually adopted, and she still has parents and her own family. Yet my parents spend so much time and resources on her, it's ridiculous. Everyone else has started unironically calling her their daughter or sister, and I've refused. I just don't consider her to be family. Anyways, I got married recently, which is where the issues start. I invited Ali to the wedding, of course, and she came with all of my other family. When we were doing pictures of the wedding parties, I decided that I wanted one with all of my immediate family. So my parents, my siblings, and Maya and Michael's daughter. My mum brought Ali up to come take the picture with us, and I was forced to tell her no. My mum started to get upset, but then Ali said it was okay and sat down by herself. My mum isn't a very confrontational person, so she didn't make a big deal of it. But then everyone else realized that Ali wasn't there, and they got mad as well. Ultimately, we took the photo how I wanted it, because they didn't want to do this at my wedding, but my entire family is angry at me now. My mum said that Ali cried when she got home because I don't love her, which I don't. I feel like they forced me into a position where I had to do a jerk thing by forcing this kid onto me. I don't think I should have to consider her family if I don't want to. So, am I the jerk? Now look, this is your wedding, of course, so you ultimately get to make the decisions, and I appreciate the fact that your family, despite the fact that they were probably so angry at the time, listened to you and realized that it is your day, so they had to isolate Ali from this. But you didn't need to do that. I mean, come on. I can't really do the maths here. I mean, I can, but on the fly, it's a little bit hard. I'm just trying to work out exactly how long Ali has been in your life for. I'm pretty sure that you said that she's been there for 8 years now in your family home, which is over half of her life. She's clearly part of the family. I mean, family doesn't have to mean just blood. We know this. For example, your pet's part of the family, isn't it? Come on, let's be realistic here. Ali is all but part of the family. I mean, she just is. And to isolate her like that, it's just so harsh for no real reason. I think, just from looking a little bit further here, I think you were about 16 and she might have been, 4 or so when she moved in. So you were in her life for a good period of time living at home there. Yet you're acting like this towards her? A 14-year-old? It's kind of disgusting, really, especially when the rest of your family were probably like, what are you doing? I don't know. Have your own thoughts, but I don't agree with this. I think you actually are the jerk here. I mean, just thinking about this a little bit further. Sorry to keep rambling here, guys, but I think that you could have just done an extra photo with Ali in. Like, that's the solution here. Do one with your family for you, but then for the rest of your family and Ali, just put her in. That's what you should have done, because again, your wedding, your preference is completely fine, and if you don't have a close relationship with her, that's all right, but you could have just chucked her in and just taken one more photo, and then she would have been happy. That, I think, is what you should have done. So for not doing that, I would say you are the jerk. For having your own preferences about your photos and stuff at a wedding, I can't have any qualms against that. Am I the jerk for showing up at my sister's party after her miscarriage, despite knowing that I couldn't drink and people would suspect I was pregnant? My name is Kyla, and I'm a 22-year-old woman. My sister, Leah, who's 25, unexpectedly had a miscarriage a week ago. I felt especially guilty because I recently found out I was pregnant as well, but I'd opted to wait to tell anyone. I felt guilty, so I elected to keep quiet about it for as long as I could, as I didn't want to take any attention away from her grief or cause her any pain. This became a problem when my family arranged a little get-together at her place to help her feel better, where alcohol was to be involved. The night was going fine, and my sister really seemed to be smiling and enjoying herself. I was staying away from the beer and vodka, kind of shutting down the strange looks from my family and friends who know that I almost never turn down the opportunity to drink. Most were believing my lies, except my sister's friend, Ash, who came up to me and asked, "Are you pregnant or something? Why aren't you drinking?" I laughed and said I had to watch out for my health, trying to change the subject. But my sister saw us talking, however, and came up with a shot in her hand. She basically said that she was really glad I was here and wanted to take a shot with me. I had a feeling that Ash had told her I wasn't drinking and had to come confirm her suspicions. I turned her down and said that I was just happy to be in the moment with her. Leah got this teary look on her face and kinda eyed my stomach. She set the drink down and asked me slowly if I was pregnant and trying to hide it. I froze in the moment, which must have basically confirmed what she was suspecting. She burst into tears and asked again, much louder this time, which caused most of the people in her apartment to look at us. She told me to either drink the shot or tell her the truth. I wasn't sure what to do, so I opted just to tell her the truth. I tried to tell her that I didn't really want to take any attention away from her pain, but she wasn't listening. She started accusing me of coming to her apartment to boast about my pregnancy and how I always got what I wanted. She also said that I shouldn't have come to the party knowing that I couldn't drink, and that I obviously knew that people were going to know I was pregnant, basically going on about how I was attention seeking. At this point, our dad stepped in to calm her down because she was belligerent. At that point, me and my boyfriend decided it was better for us to just leave. I even got a few quiet congrats, which I felt awful about. She's not really talking to me right now, which I kind of understand, but at the same time, all I really wanted was to be there for her. People are more so leaning on her side because she's going through a hard time right now, but I feel like I'm not being listened to. My mum told me that she understands, but that it was wrong of me to come knowing I was pregnant. I feel like this one, what are you supposed to do? You're never gonna win. You're never ever gonna win. I don't really blame your sister, by the way, for her reaction. She's obviously in a bad spot right now. But for you, what are you going to do? If you don't go, then your sister's like, why aren't you here? If you do go and drink, you're going to really impact your baby. So obviously you're not going to do that. So you did the only thing you could possibly do. But also, if you just told everyone outright, then you would have made your sister probably more upset, or as upset as she ended up being anyway. So yeah, I don't think you could ever win. So for that reason, you're not the jerk here. And I also feel like people were pretty rude here, like forcing drinks on you, saying, oh my God, how are you not drinking? You must be pregnant. Like, it seems kind of like a little bit predatory. I didn't really like that. Your sister and also her mate. But yeah, overall, you could never have won in this spot. You're definitely not the jerk. Am I the jerk for asking my brother-in-law, what did you expect when my daughter didn't want him at her birthday? My daughter, who is 14, loves her uncle a lot, but she is angry at him right now. When we were walking home together one day, we saw an emaciated dog tied to a pole in front of an empty house. The owner must have abandoned her there. My daughter had tears in her eyes. I was already thinking of calling my wife and asking if I can bring the poor dog home before my daughter begged me. I took a picture, sent it to my wife with a couple of texts, and she said yes. When my brother-in-law first saw the dog, he said, he's probably gonna die by the end of the week. Don't know why you bothered taking him home. She teared up a bit at that. It's been over a month now and he is still alive and recovering well. My daughter still didn't want him at her birthday party though. She is still upset at him for saying that we should have left her dog there and asked us not to invite him. He hasn't apologized for his remarks either, insisting that he was only being realistic. My brother-in-law was really upset, saying that I'm wrong for denying him the opportunity to celebrate with his niece. I asked, what did you expect? His wife then said that I was being petty with the comments. Yep, definitely not the jerk. The fact that he's still not apologized to a 14-year-old girl, even if he was in the right, which by the way he wasn't, that's evidenced by the fact that the dog is still alive and doing well, is disgraceful. Like, it's so poor. What a weird man. Oh, it's so unfair that I don't get to go to my niece's birthday. But also, I told her that she shouldn't bother looking after her dog. Clown. Obviously, OP, you're not the jerk. If anything, you could have gone even stronger and said no. Apologize or you're never seeing her again. Am I the jerk for asking my future mother-in-law not to tell my toddler they make her sad? I am a 28-year-old woman and my oldest son is 3 years old. My fiance's mum came over a few weeks ago and when leaving asked my 3-year-old for a hug. He initially said no and walked away, but he came back unprompted and hugged her. She said, "Oh, good, because I was going to be sad." With my fiance's, aunt's and best friend's edits, I sent her this. This is it summed up. We're teaching our 3-year-old that he is in control of his own body and self-defined boundaries, regardless of how it makes someone feel. If he's trying to make someone upset on purpose, that's a different story. We don't want him to go against his boundaries to make someone feel better. I'm sure you just want to show he's important to you, but we'd appreciate it if you could show it in a different way. My future mother-in-law replied, "OP, I'd appreciate you not sending me these kinds of messages and we have these conversations in person. Thank you." I said, "I don't really see a difference, to be honest. I would have said the same things in person. I didn't see this topic as one that needs to be discussed too much. If you have a response, I'm obviously open to hearing it, but it won't change the fact that saying things that could make my kids feel guilty and responsible for others' feelings will be accepted. Again, you can show that you care for the boys, but not in ways that make them feel bad." She replied, "Because having adult conversation via text, I believe, is pretty cowardly. When you address me or any other adult via text, it's not really appropriate. So I'll end this conversation with you if you can't talk things over with me instead of telling me what not to do. Well, then that in itself is a problem, so I am done." Again, OP replied, "I would say the same words to you in person. Nothing cowardice about the method I choose to say these words. The reason I didn't see it make sense to do in person is because I'm essentially asking you a favor and it's your choice to acknowledge it or not. I wasn't looking for a debate about it, just asking that you please not make certain comments to my babies." I'm okay if she preferred me to discuss something like this in person, but why ignore my initial message? Seems like blame shifting or diverting to me. She then went to my fiance and texted him, "So by now I'm sure OP told you she was messaging me. If you guys have something you need to say to me, just say it." They had a 30-minute phone call and my fiance told me she said she's already distanced herself from coming over and she'll distance herself more if she has to, and it's not something she was doing intentionally. Now, I never said it was intentional, just bringing her attention to this and the potential repercussions. I chose to message her because I'm horrible at having deep or stressful combos in person. I have ADHD, so I can't process what I want to say and what other people say and then formulate responses, etc. Also, this is a boundary, so not really up for discussion or debate. Either she chooses to stop or doesn't. So, am I the jerk for asking this or in the way I brought it up? Oh my god, this is absolutely ridiculous, this one. I just cannot believe that you, OP, as a parent, are saying we're teaching a 3-year-old that he's in control of his own body and self-defined boundaries, regardless of how it makes someone feel. I mean, yeah, that's fine, but you can't have a go at your future mother-in-law for saying, "Oh, if you don't give me a hug, that'll make me sad." What is wrong with that? It's like the most woke trash I've ever seen in my life. And also, I kind of agree with your mother-in-law as well, saying if you're going to have a conversation about this, don't just text me saying, "Don't do this ever again." Just have a conversation like an adult about it. It's ridiculous telling somebody that they can't say to a child, "Oh, please give me a hug or I'll be sad." A very normal thing to do. And yeah, I just feel bad for your husband's or your fiance's mum, really, because now she just feels probably terrible about the situation, and as we've seen at the end there, she's already now distanced herself from your son, which is just a terrible outcome. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Am I the Jerk. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, well, first of all, drop a like on this one and subscribe if you haven't done already. But as always, these are my episodes that get the most comments by a mile because you guys get involved in the comments down below. So I want to hear your thoughts on all 6 of these stories. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Completely fine either way. Just get involved.